Welcome back to the channel. So, Eagles fans, is Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman wasting a Super Bowl caliber defense? Let's talk about it. So, last night we watched the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Detroit Lions in a very, very good game if you like defense. Why I say that? Well, the Lions defense played really well, and the Eagles defense played really well. But I'm an Eagles fan, and I want to talk about the Eagles, right? I want to talk about more so Nick Sirianni and what I believe Howie Roseman wasting a Super Bowl caliber defense, plain and simple. So when you hear me talk about Nick Sirianni, or when you hear me talking about Howie Roseman on this episode, I'm talking about both of them because I believe that they have a great relationship. I believe that they are a dynamic duo. And I believe that when Howie Roseman is, about to interview is thinking about bringing on a new player or what have you, or interviewing for a coach for a position, I think that him and Nick Sirianni, they're all talking together. They're in the same room, they're talking, and they're with each other with these interviews and when they're bringing in these players. I think that any offensive coordinator any head coach and GM would be a dynamic duo together when these type of decisions are being made. So that's why I'm putting the blame on both of them, right? So let's talk about it. I believe that Nick Sirianni is responsible for wasting a Super Bowl caliber defense, plain and simple. I believe that, either, he is too kind-hearted or he's just too lazy when it comes to making tough coaching decisions. Um, he should have never promoted Kevin Patella to the offensive coordinator after Kellen Moore left for the Saints head coaching job. It's the same mistake that, he made with Brian Johnson, after the first Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl. The Eagles played the Chiefs in that first Super Bowl, and unfortunately, the Eagles lost. And after the season, Shane Steichen decided to take the head coaching job with the Indianapolis Colts. Can't get mad at Shane Steichen because I believe that if you are a position coach in the NFL or a assistant coach in the NFL, if you get a shot to be a head coach, that's every coach's dream to be a head coach in the NFL, and damn sure win a Super Bowl as a head coach in the NFL. And so Shane goes to the Indianapolis Colts. Nick and Howie Roseman decide to promote Brian Johnson from quarterbacks coach to offensive coordinator, and we saw the offense struggled. The whole team just kind of seemed like it fell apart throughout that season. And after the end of the year, they said, hey, Brian Johnson, thank you for your service. You got to go. He goes to the Washington Commanders. The Eagles go out and they go get Kellen Moore, who was let go by the Dallas Cowboys. And you saw the results of Kellen Moore led offense. Eagles go to the Super Bowl. They dominate the Chiefs. Now, fast forward to now. At the end of the season, Kellen Moore decides to go be the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Can't blame him. He's a head coach. And the Eagles say, hey, we're not going to go out. We're not going to go get an offensive coordinator that has experience. We're going to promote from within, and that's how you get Kevin Patella. And you see the results of this offense. Very pedestrian last night. Jalen Hurts has regressed terribly. A.J. Brown's mad. There's all of these reports coming out that says that there's multiple offensive players that's mad at Jalen Hurts. And if I had to guess, it would definitely be A.J. Brown. We know that. I would have to say Devontae Smith and maybe Saquon Barkley. I don't know, but I definitely know it's A.J. Brown. And not all of the blame is to be put on, Jalen Hurts. I think a lot of the blame has to get put on Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman from promoting Kevin to offensive coordinator when he has no real experience at calling plays or being an offensive coordinator. Calling plays, you have to have a feel for it. You can script a first drive and score, but what are you going to do when it's situational football? You have to have a feel for calling plays. You got to have a feel for getting a team in rhythm or getting a team back in rhythm. And so I just don't think that Kevin has that. And for as much shit that A.J. Brown talks on the offense and on, Jalen Hurts, he has to blame. Some of the blame is on him too. We see him on another game give up on a route. We see him just having low energy. And that bleeds into the rest of the offense. That bleeds into the other players. So he has to take blame too. He needs to be a leader on that offense, right? And yeah, we saw Jalen Hurts last night throw some pretty bad passes, that was underthrown or behind some of the wide receivers. But we also saw wide receivers drop a lot of balls last night too. So it was just a very pedestrian, lame, boring performance by the line. The Eagles offense last night. The Lions offense was very boring also. But Nick Sirianni is wasting a Super Bowl caliber defense. The Lions offense was off last night, but that Lions offense is a very lethal offense. If you don't think so, go do your research, because that is not. They don't have a bunch of scrubs on that side of the ball. The Lions don't have a bunch of scrubs on offense. And the Eagles stopped them 5 times when they tried to go for it on 4th down. We all know that Dan Campbell is a gambler. He loves going for it on 4th down, and he went for it on 4th downs. He went for it last night. Sorry, I'm getting my words tangled up. He went for it on 4th down last night 5 times, right? And the most impressive stoppage by the Eagles defense was 4th and goal. The Lions was on the Eagles 3-yard line. They threw a pass, and the Eagles said, not happening. And it is very hard to stop a NFL offense on 4th down in the NFL, and it's damn sure very hard to stop a team that goes for it 4 times on your goal line. Very hard to do. And that was an impressive show of dominance by the Eagles defense last night, holding that offense for the Lions very, very pedestrian numbers. And we see this week in and week out where the defense has to rescue the offense. And if the Eagles defense decided to have a pedestrian game like the Eagles offense did, I think the Lions would have been able to pull out the victory over the Eagles. But instead, the Eagles now are 8-2. The offense is still pedestrian. AJ Brown is still butthurt. And I just think that a lot of it has to go on to Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman, because they once again failed to hire a qualified offensive coordinator to lead this offense. You're wasting Devontae Smith's prime. You're wasting what prime that AJ Brown has left. You have Saquon Barkley, who hasn't been able to get his rocks off on the ground, right? Because he's facing a lot of loaded boxes, because defenses know that Jalen Hurts and the passing game just hasn't been good all season. So let's stop them in the run game and force them to pass. And that's exactly what you see teams doing. So hopefully the end of this season ends with the Eagles going back to the Super Bowl and winning. But either or, the season is going to come to an end, and the Eagles need to get rid of Kevin. You don't have to fire him. To say, hey, Kevin, we appreciate your service. We're going to demote you back to whatever job you was doing on the offensive side of the ball before we promoted you to offensive coordinator. And we're going to go out and we're going to go hire a qualified, experienced offensive coordinator to lead this team on the offensive side of the ball. All right, so Eagles fans, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. As always, I appreciate everyone who supports a veteran like me. I do this channel as a hobby. I just like to state my opinions. I don't get paid for none of this. I just do it as a hobby. I love talking football. I love talking about the Eagles and my LSU Tigers, who are just in all type of it's just a clown show down here in Baton Rouge, right? And I just like talking about sports. So y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think. And until next time, I'm out.